The Yankees lost their 6th game. In the grand scheme of things, the Yankees were not able to hit with runners in scoring position. They had plenty of opportunities and weren't able to do it.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen. I'm Brian McKeon. Stacey Gotsoulias is out with technical difficulties. She has returned to the IL after her stint being off. So you'll be with me solo for tonight. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download your Gametime app, create an account, and use the code, one word, Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform that you prefer, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. And we have a new TikTok page you can follow us on. If you're there, you can follow us at LockedOn_Yankees. On today's show, the Yankees failed to hit as usual. There may be some silver lining you're looking for. I don't think it's all there. The Yankees had a team meeting, a players-only meeting that was reported on. We're going to discuss that going forward, and if they can salvage a Game 4 against the Angels, we'll see if they can, but who knows. I do want to apologize because me and Stacey were kind of wrong. We thought it was a 3-game series against the Angels, didn't realize there was a 4th game. There is a 4th game. They'll play it on Thursday at 1 o'clock, a getaway game where the Yankees look to, lose the series 3-1 if they possibly can, and avoid a 4-game sweep. And we'll get into it from there. So the Yankees have now lost 6 games in a row. And you can sit here and say they finally scored 2 runs and they got off the scoreless streak that they were on. Whether that's a big deal or not, I don't know. If you think that it's a big deal that they didn't extend a franchise-long scoreless streak, it's not that big of a deal to me. That doesn't really matter that much. In the grand scheme of things, the Yankees lost their 6th game. In the grand scheme of things, the Yankees were not able to hit with runners in scoring position. They had plenty of opportunities and weren't able to do it. In the grand scheme of things, the Yankees got 2 runs off 2 home runs, of a Jazz Chisholm Jr. solo shot and a Cody Bellinger solo shot. That was it. There was no clutch hitting. There was no timely hitting. It was 2 solo home runs at 2 points in the game. Other than that, they didn't hit. They were out hit. They were outscored. They were out battled. They were out willed. They were out everything. And if you sit here and tell me that the Yankees, that it's not a big deal, you heard a lot of it all throughout New York sports media today, right? It's not a big deal. The Yankees only lost their 5th game in a row. They're going to lose a lot of games. It's going to be back and forth. This is part of the baseball season. I heard every excuse imaginable today. But when you sit here and analyze it and you actually think about how the Yankees lost these games, they're not hitting. They're not disciplined. They're making bad errors. They're making bad base running mistakes. They're playing like a very bad baseball team. And the report came out that they had a players-only meeting. If it's not serious, if it's not important, if none of these things matter, the players wouldn't have a players-only meeting. They wouldn't have a discussion with themselves to try and get things right. We'll discuss that in the second segment. Let's go over Game 3 where the Yankees lost. Again, they didn't hit when they needed to. There was no runners in scoring position. There were nothing they did positive in this game. They didn't hit. There was no timely hitting. All of it was a mistake. They had 1st and 2nd with no outs in the 8th inning. They didn't get a run across the board. For some reason, they had Trent Grisham putting down for bunt, and then with 1 strike, he swung away and popped out to the catcher. I don't know why with no strikes you would have him bunt, but with 1 strike, you would have him swing away. Didn't quite make a lot of sense with that one, but that's what they did. Ryan Yarbrough, I thought, was good too. He gave up 2 runs, only two solo shots also in this game. Wasn't bad, was as good as Kyle Hendricks really was in the game before. These slow pitchers that can effectively pitch well with movement and with location have done well this year, and Ryan Yarbrough's had a good year and really continued that in this game. But again, the Yankees didn't help him. They haven't helped any of their starters. Not able to hit when they need to. And it doesn't matter how good your bullpen is. It doesn't matter how good your starters are. It doesn't matter if Fernando Cruz comes in and gets out of it. None of that matters. They are not hitting. They scored a run with the Jazz home run. They scored a run with the Bellinger home run. And that was it. Nothing else happened in this game. Aaron Judge had a couple of lackluster at-bats. He's striking out 45% of the time in the month of May, which is in the month of June, I'm sorry, which is the highest month of strikeout percentage he's had since his 2016 campaign when he got called up at the end of the year. If you guys remember how bad he was that year and how bad his strikeouts were at the end of that year, you remember how brutal it was. That's the highest percentage in a month that he's had since that month at the end of 2016. So it's not going good for any of them. They're not hitting. What do you do from here? I don't know. Let's discuss a player who has become a problem in the field, and it got wiped away because of a Gold Glove campaign with Anthony Volpe. He wins the Gold Glove, and everyone thinks that it's all settled. It's all good and done, and Anthony Volpe is an elite fielder. Well, quietly, Anthony Volpe has the third most errors of any shortstop in Major League Baseball this year. He's got 9 errors on the year, which was a crucial error in this game. They get the ground ball with the runner on first and second. They're finally, I think it was bases loaded actually. They're finally able to get out of the inning. It's a pretty easy ground ball, right? It's a simple hop to Volpe. He should be able to get the toss over to Jazz, who can get it over to first and end the inning. And the Yankees would have went to the 8th inning, to the bottom of the 8th inning, tied at 2. Well, instead, Volpe bobbles it, throws it away. Everybody's safe. The run scores, winds up being the game-winning run, and the Yankees lose the game. That's a crucial error that Todd Frazier made a great point on the broadcast. Those things can't happen, especially when you're not hitting the way you are. Your margin for error is extremely slim when you're playing the way you're playing right now, when you're hitting the way you're hitting right now, when you're unable to pick up any of your pitchers. So that error is absolutely crucial, bigger than most errors. And yes, I know it's one game. You got to look at everything simplified, but this is a big deal. The way they're playing is a big deal. They're not playing like a well-rounded baseball team. You're going to lose games throughout a season. I acknowledge that. They're not going to win every game every year. But the fact of the matter is, when you see the way the team plays, if they lost 6 straight games where they're scoring a lot of runs, they're getting out-dueled, and they lose in different ways, okay, it happens. That's baseball. They're losing every game by not being competitive. They're not scoring runs. They're not in the game. They're getting guys on base, and they're not hitting when they need to. That's a major problem. They're pitching well. They're not hitting. And when they're getting the pitching performances that they've been getting all week, and they're still not able to hit, it's a problem. It's not like these other teams are putting up 10, 12, 15 runs against the Yankees. That's not what's happening. They're not scoring. So they're not able to hang up with these other teams. You hope that Carlos Rodón in tomorrow's start will be able to somewhat keep it up and keep the runs down, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Carlos Rodón can go out there and give you 8 innings of 2-run ball, and they can still lose the game 2-1 because they simply don't hit at the moment. The bullpen looked really good too. Again, not that it matters, but Leiter Jr. was really good. De Los Santos got into some trouble. Cruz got out of it. Had too many walks in that appearance, and then Tim Hill comes in, gets the ground ball. Tim Hill was great. Got the ground ball, and you could see the frustration on his face. You could see the aggravation on his face when he gets the ground ball. Volpe bobbles it. It looked like he wanted to scream into his glove because he came in and did his job. And his team wasn't able to pick him up. They're not getting killed by Trout in this series. They're not getting killed by any of the Angels' good hitters. Everything is on the Yankees. They're losing these games themselves. It's a major problem. This team is majorly flawed. They're not coming into these games playing well. They're not playing focused. Doesn't matter how many MVPs you field out there. For some reason, Giancarlo Stanton got a rest day, got an off day in his 3rd game back. I don't know why. I don't know what that's all about. It's obviously just a rest day. He came in and got the pinch hit appearance. But it's from every guy on the roster. Aaron Judge striking out when you can't have it. Followed by Cody Bellinger coming up and having a decent at-bat, but then sawing one off to the third baseman and not even making the third baseman make a difficult play. Not even putting it in the outfield. This team is playing like a bad baseball team. They're not losing games haphazardly. They're not losing games by random weird plays happening. They're losing like a bad baseball team. They're not scoring runs. They're not converting when they need to. This has been a consistent thing year after year with Aaron Boone, where his teams lose focus in the middle of the season and go through some type of swoon every single year. And you're seeing it now. Everyone's trying to downgrade how bad the Yankees have played. Everyone's trying to say that it's not that big of a deal. Everyone's trying to say that, hey, this is baseball and it happens. This is bad. They're playing really bad. Earlier tonight also, the Rays came back from being down 8-0 and beat the Orioles. The Yankee lead in the division is now a game and a half. You see what one bad week can do? You see why those wins in early April are crucial? Why blown saves hurt as much as they do? On May 28th, the Yankees had a 7-game lead in the division. It's now down to a game and a half. And the Rays are playing well. At the time, the Yankees are playing poorly. This is a problem. If you guys don't want to acknowledge it as Yankee fans, that's going to be on you. But the Yankees are playing horrible baseball, as bad as anyone's playing around the entire major leagues. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on all of our videos, and hit that notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. That link is in our description. You'll get texts from us, and you can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades, and signings whenever you want. We send out lineups during the season, roster moves, and breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There is a 14-day free trial. Coming up, was there a team meeting or not? We're going to discuss that next. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's a ritual. It's a lifeline. And that's the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning in the morning. And if it's that essential, then why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S. It delivers fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they've got a roast that you'll love. Now, I took Trade's quiz, and it only took a minute, and the first bag they sent me was absolutely spot on. The coffee was fresh, it smelled amazing, and honestly, it ruined the grocery store experience for me in the best way imaginable. And if the first match isn't perfect, Trade will replace it for free until they get it just right to your tasting. I love that their prices are also comparable to grocery store brands, but the flavor is on a whole different level. Now, right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1-month trial. drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. And guys, we have a new way for you to view our questions for Fan Mail Friday, where you can leave them under our YouTube. You can head over to the channel's main page, click on the posts, and scroll down to the latest post. The deadline this week is 5 p.m. on Thursday. That's where you can leave all of your questions for Fan Mail Friday right there, and you'll be able to send them in. You guys have done great the last couple of weeks, so we look forward to having another successful Fan Mail Friday for you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we're not talking about another Yankee loss, but at this point, who knows? So Brian Cashman did speak on Wednesday. According to the Yankees, they spoke on Tuesday. According to Aaron Boone, they didn't. Now, after the game on Tuesday, it was reported that Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton rallied the troops and had a players-only meeting with closed doors, no media members, no managers, coaches, any staff allowed inside the meeting. Generally, this is a good thing. Now, I think this meeting poo-pooed the idea of Yankee fans all day telling everybody that this is not a swoon. It's only a 5-game losing streak. Well, it was a 5-game losing streak. This is not a big deal. Teams lose games, all of that. If the players call a players-only meeting, that means it's a big deal. That means they view it as important. So I did think there was that. Now, Aaron Boone came out and denied that there was a players-only meeting. Take that for what you will. It was pretty much confirmed by all the big-time media sources that the Yankees did have a players-only meeting. Bellinger kind of walked it back and said that it was a players-only discussion. I don't know what the difference between that and a players-only meeting is. But regardless, I'm considering a meeting. From what we know, the players met in the clubhouse with the doors closed. That's a meeting to me. So if the manager wants to say it's not a meeting, the manager doesn't want to hit the panic button. I think he's saying that publicly because he doesn't want to make it seem like the team is panicking, like the team is freaking out, like it's a big deal or not. So they don't want to call it a players-only meeting because generally that happens when there is the panic button being pushed. So maybe that's what's going on. Again, not really entirely sure, but For what my money's worth, I think it's a players only meeting that they had. Now, they've all had some frustrating comments to be made. The team is playing awful. Cody Bellinger's comment on it was just post-game chatter. Again, doors closed. Managers and coaches aren't allowed. Post-game chatter, whatever you want to call it. All I know is 4 former MVPs rallied the troops, got the team together, locked the doors, and had a conversation with the entire roster. That sounds like the definition of a players only meeting. You want to call it what you want to call it. You want to call it chatter, discussion, whatever. I think it's a players only meeting. So are they overreacting? Is everybody overreacting? Is the media overreacting? Or is this a big deal? Or is the evidence of them calling a players only meeting a big deal? Because to me, you call a players only meeting, that means that you're acknowledging, hey, this is a big deal and we got to fix this now. Now, I like that the players did this. I like that the players got together and realized this. It's weird to me that the manager didn't do that. It's weird to me that the manager didn't think to do that. But regardless, the players did it. The team captain was one of the guys that got in on it. So I like that. They're acknowledging when they're struggling. You want to hold yourself to this World Series standard that we're still holding ourselves from the 90s? If the fan base wants to hold themselves to that standard every single year, every single game, then a 5-game losing streak is a big deal. A 5-game losing streak where in 3 of those games you're shut out consecutively is a big deal. So yeah, I think the meeting was worth it. Now, I don't know if it worked because they didn't necessarily play well in the next game. But I like the idea that they had a meeting out there. Again, players aren't calling players-only meetings if they don't view it as a big deal. Now, Brian Cashman did speak on Wednesday, and I do want to say that it does aggravate the entire fan base, me definitely being included, that Aaron Boone refuses to criticize his players. We all saw them go all those innings without scoring a run. We've seen them lose now 6 games in a row. You can criticize them. They know they've played terrible. No one's asking you to destroy a specific player, to blame it all on one guy. At the end of the day, they've played terrible. It's fairly obvious. Therefore, it's okay to criticize them. I don't see why the manager is so afraid to do that. But they hired a guy that's different than Joe Girardi. They wanted a guy that's different than Joe Girardi. And you are damn well getting a guy that's different than Joe Girardi. Now, a guy that's not afraid to criticize the players is Brian Cashman. Why? If a player gets upset that Brian Cashman made a comment about him not playing well, which, by the way, Brian Cashman does not usually hold back. And Brian Cashman has no problem criticizing the players. But if the player is unhappy with Brian Cashman's comments about him, what's going to happen to Brian Cashman? Aaron Boone might lose his job. Now, we don't think so. The evidence over the years is that he won't. But there's a chance that he could lose his job if he makes a comment that's too rash towards a player. Certainly, there's a lot of evidence that Joe Girardi lost his job because of the comments made about Gary Sanchez in the postseason. But Brian Cashman, the additional Steinbrenner son, the guy that's pretty much in the family, he ain't losing his job. What does he have to be scared of? He can call the guys out. So he didn't go scorched earth and call them out. Now, I will give the Yankees GM credit. He does usually call it like it is, and he's not a guy that's afraid to speak or field questions. But his quote was, we'll fight our way through it. It's a tough spot that these guys, it's a tough sport that these guys are doing. We're playing against pros. No one is going to give us anything. We have to take it. Our guys will keep fighting, working, focusing, and hopefully we'll come through this as early as tonight. There is no guarantee with that stuff. We just have to grind through it. Is he right? Of course. But he's acknowledging it's a problem. That's the perfect quote right there, though. He's acknowledging that it's a problem. He's acknowledging they need to play better while still giving the team the confidence that, hey, we can get through this. We can pull through this. It could be as short as 5 games. Well, it's not. It moved to 6 games. Again, I think a players-only meeting, chat, discussion, whatever you want to call it, is clearly the Yankees acknowledging this is a problem. They see it. They know what's going on. Again, I like that happens 5 games in. I appreciate that kind of stuff. I don't have any problem with it at all. If you have World Series expectations, you shouldn't be losing 5-6 games in a row. You shouldn't be going scoreless for 3 straight games. No problem with it. I don't love hiding behind whether it was a meeting or not, but I get where they're coming from. A players-only meeting sounds like there's panic. And Aaron Boone wants to keep them from sounding like that. So he comes out and says it wasn't a players-only meeting, and Cody Bellinger comes out and says it was just post-game chatter. The facts that we know are the team had a discussion. The 4 former MVPs got the team together, and they closed the doors and allowed no managers, coaches, or media inside the room. Call it what you will. Gathering, meeting, chat, kerfluffle. It is what it is. They all got together. They all had a conversation. That's pretty serious. That's not something that goes on after every single game. Trust me. Yankees got to pick things up. They'll have game 4 against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim to try and get a 3-1 series loss and at least just salvage something and stop the bleeding where it's at. We'll discuss all that next. We'll preview the afternoon finale. It's a 1 o'clock game against the Angels, and we'll take a look around the league next. Now, guys, have you ever decided last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize that you want to be in the stands. Well, that's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without all the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you'll be able to splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes all that possible. Now, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. The prices on the app actually drop closer as you get to first pitch. And they got incredibly great last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest price guarantee that takes all of the worry out of buying tickets. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, and it makes it easy to browse the app for Yankees versus Orioles games this weekend at Yankee Stadium. And Gametime has last-minute tickets and zone deals that include big savings. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today and create an account when using code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So, guys, not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single game. You can check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming on our YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. So, as I discussed, the Yankees will play game 4 of their 4-game set against I keep calling them the California Angels. For some reason, I wasn't alive when they were called the California Angels, but I keep calling them the California Angels. I don't know why. They are the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Regardless, the Yankees are down 3-0. They swept the Angels in Anaheim, which is where they play, in about 2 weeks ago in California. Now they're potentially going to get swept in a 4-game series in the Bronx. So what a crazy turn of events that could be. They'll get Carlos Rodón. He's 8-5 with a 3.01 ERA. That's a 1.05 start tomorrow or later on today. He'll go up against a pitcher who's 2-4 with a 4.44 ERA for the Angels. And listen, is it an important game to get off the schneid? Yes. Is it an important game to get back in? Tyler Anderson, by the way. I don't know why his first name escaped me. It's Tyler Anderson. Is it an important game to get the win? Absolutely. Is it an important game to get back on the winning track? Absolutely. I do want to state this, though. The Yankees losing a game again, having a 7th straight loss, these things start to spiral. The more and more you allow it to become a story, the more and more you allow this to become a big deal, is the more and more it becomes a narrative, and the more and more it gets in the player's head, and the more and more they have to keep answering questions. That's a big problem. The Yankees are going to have a big problem if they lose this game. Then you get Baltimore coming into town, who, not a good team this year, not playing well. Could it be a get-right spot? Potentially. But it's a spot the Yankees should win. It's a spot coming in where the Yankees should have been confident going into these games, thinking they were going to take care of the Orioles. They never handle the Orioles well. Still a divisional matchup. Still not an easy game. You see the pattern that's developing, though? You don't score runs, you're not going to beat anybody. You got to stop the losing streaks where you can. And this is what aces do. This is what aces are on your team for. This is why Carlos Rodón makes north of $30 million a year. To stop these moments where they're at. Stop these losing streaks where they're at. Kahanowitz also had an ERA over 5 going into Wednesday's game. Can't hit. It's not the pitchers they're going up against either. I saw that narrative out there too. Oh, maybe compliment the pitchers they're going up against the Yankees. That ain't it. They're not facing aces out there. They really haven't faced one. It was only the Crochet game. In that game, they were tied going into the last inning. That game went to extra innings. Aaron Judge tied it up late with that home run that he hit. They're not scoring runs. They're not hitting. That's the problem. It's not other pitchers getting to them. Now, some news around the league. We got to get to this story because it's wild. Nick Castellanos was benched in the middle of a game due to a comment he made to Rob Thompson. Now, apparently, Thompson was planning on taking him out after his at-bat to be able to put in a defensive replacement and improve on their defense going into the last inning in this game. Whatever the reason is, they're playing the Marlins down in Miami, and Nick Castellanos did not take kindly to being benched in that game. Apparently, he went at Thompson. The quote is not out there of what was said or what happened, but don't you find it as an old school baseball fan a little refreshing that a manager took a guy out of the game because of a comment he made to him? I'll tell you this. If Rob Thompson didn't think that he had the room, if Rob Thompson didn't think that he had the respect of that Philadelphia Phillies roster, there's no chance he does this. But he knows he has the respect. He knows he's the manager of the team. He knows he can do what he wants, and he pulls a player because he made comments that he didn't like. Now, I'd love to know what Nick Castellanos said because I can only imagine what was actually said to get him pulled from a game, because when does this ever happen? In an era of athlete-player empowerment in sports, this is wild for him to get pulled from a game like this. I did not expect this at all, but this is such an old-school move. And Yankee fans, please, could you ever picture Aaron Boone doing this to a player? Any player. Not even a star like Nick Castellanos. Any player on the Yankees. Would Aaron Boone ever pull from a game for comments made to him? Absolutely not. Because the comments are one thing, but God forbid you hurt that player's feelings. That would be a problem. Can't have that happening. So despite Pete Crow Armstrong hitting a ball yesterday that still hasn't landed, he said that he has zero interest in participating in the home run derby. That's kind of upsetting. The home run derby over the years has had the same kind of field the NBA dunk contest has, which is a problem. Guys don't want to participate in it. Players don't want to participate in it. They don't want to be a part of it. They're afraid it's going to mess up their swing. Now, I will give them this. There is evidence over the years that the home run derby does contribute to your swing getting a little messed up. So I understand not wanting to do that. But Pete Crow Armstrong, who's had an unbelievable year, put up good power numbers in a ballpark that's not easy to hit in Wrigley Field, not participating, kind of a bummer. I'm sure you'll get Pete Alonso. Those guys aren't even announced yet, but he was asked if he'd consider hitting in the home run derby and immediately turned it down. So you're not going to see Pete Crow Armstrong, which again is kind of upsetting. This is a big story too. So the Rays have signed a letter of intent to sell the team for $1.7 billion from a Jacksonville real estate mogul. The Rays' minority owner, Stu Sternberg, can still pull out of the deal. He owns the largest portion of the team. He has not signed anything. It is the Rays' other owners, that the ownership group that owns the Rays, that have signed off on it. Doesn't mean much as of now. There is not a report that they are going to move to Jacksonville. Nothing like that. I would say this. Moving them to Jacksonville, if that's where this guy plans on moving them to, is a terrible idea and would not work at all. I don't know if Major League Baseball would necessarily approve that either. There's a lot going into this story that really is not going to get a lot of report yet. It's not going to get a lot of news put out there yet. But if the Rays are going to be purchased, which, by the way, just to talk about for one quick second, the value of sports teams out there is insane. The Tampa Bay Rays are going to sell for $1.7 billion. The Tampa Bay Rays. Now, the Buss family is selling the Lakers. That was reported the other day, too, that for $10 billion. But the Rays are selling for 1.7. I can only imagine what the Steinbrenners would get if they actually sold the Yankees for whatever price tag. If you sold the stadium and the team, I think you're thinking you're north of $12 billion, $13 billion. Absolutely crazy stuff. But yeah, you look through all this. If the Rays can get sold, it's a big deal. Maybe you can finally turn that team around. Maybe this new owner would spend some money. And listen, if you keep that front office intact, you keep their analytics department intact, you insert some money into that, it's a pretty good mixture out there. That could be a really, really, really dangerous team. And for a team that's really perfected the whole analytics thing, and for an organization that started the whole analytics thing and never let anyone get ahead of them and is still kind of ahead of the pack, they can insert some money into that equation. It would be a really, really, really positive sign for the Tampa Bay Rays. Hopefully they get themselves a stadium too, because they've needed new ownership for a while. This is a big deal if you're a Tampa Bay Rays fan. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Remember, for your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. For Stacey Gotsulias behind the scenes on the IL, I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you tomorrow.